All right, we're all set.
All right, let me share my screen here. All right, guys, can everybody see that?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, you're good.
Cool. So just little apology in advance there. My daughter might be whining in the background there. So if you guys hear anything, I apologize. But yeah, when Kent and Kyle and Mike asked me to come on and do this presentation, I think they had a few things that they wanted to get across. But in my mind, knowing where you guys are in your hockey careers and in the development process, I think there's a few things that I really thought would be beneficial if we went over, things that'll make the next 8 to 10 weeks heading into the tryouts for the rest of the summer really worthwhile going over and developing a little plan for you guys to kind of get you guys thinking of what you should be doing leading into the first week of tryouts and into the season and practices and whatnot. So um, title of this presentation, it's going to be the big rocks of physical performance and development, and I'll explain what that means. A little background about us at GVN. Some of you guys have probably heard of us and worked with us, and some of you guys were brand new, but we're a family more than anything, I would say. I've been working for GVN for about 7 years under Brian Galvin, who's the head director of performance at the U.S. hockey program for the national team development program in Michigan, and his brother Patrick Galvin. Throughout my time here, these are some of the teams that we've worked with. The Chicago Jets being obviously one of the first ones and one of the best ones. Green Bay, like I said, the U.S. development program in Plymouth, and in the off seasons, we work with all levels: NHL, AHL, East Coast League, AAA, AA, high school hockey, youth, and kind of everybody around, and some moms and dads as well. The I can't scroll here. Oh, there we go. Some of the most familiar faces that you guys will see is there's that guy with the ugly muck there on the left. That's myself. The guy in the middle, Patrick Galvin. He's the co-owner, and his brother's head director of performance in Plymouth. And there on the right, we have Brian Van Duzer, and we're the main coaches at Johnny's Ice House who work with the Chicago Jets hockey teams. And I think we have a pretty all-star group here. Between myself, Patrick, and Brian, we all hold either bachelor's degrees or master's degrees in exercise science. Me, myself, most recently, I worked for the Rockford Ice Hogs, who are the minor league affiliate of the Chicago Blackhawks. Patrick Galvin is a physical therapist assistant. He's a strength and conditioning coach, and he also played professionally for the Wolves. So he's kind of an all-around stud, and he's a great coach and a fun person to be around. And Brian Van Duzer is he's a teacher, but he also holds a master's degree in applied exercise science from Concordia University. And we're all certified strength and conditioning specialists. So this is what we do professionally, and we take a lot of pride in how we do things and how we help all the athletes that we work with. If I could sum this all up, I think our priority is development, and more specifically, it's your development. I put these pictures up because when we first started working with the Jets, that kid there on the left, that's actually Kent's son, Ernie Allen, and he was the best way I could describe him. He was a little uncoordinated noodle that probably couldn't balance on one leg, but now he could probably outlift most of the college guys that we train. And that's happened through development. And there's another picture there of EJ Scullion, who still currently plays on the Jets, and a couple other athletes there. But this didn't happen by them just showing up once a week, twice a week. This happened by them putting in the work every single week throughout the year, throughout the season. And when these things do happen and you keep consistency, the output and development that you guys achieve is really, really good. Like, you could see the difference there from that second picture to the third, where EJ is this little scrawny kid, and this third picture there, he's He's got jacked legs. His shoulders are a little bit broader. He's got some muscles in his shoulders. So um, these things happen through a lot of consistency and a lot of hard work. But at the end of the day, guys, if you guys buy into the process, our priority is helping you guys develop and achieve whatever goals you want to achieve. So for today's presentation, just some main points that I'm going to go over is your development, right? That's our priority. That's what we want to talk about. Any questions that you have today, this is all about how we can help you guys out. And like I said, the next 8 to 10 weeks before tryouts, you guys still have a significant amount of time to be able to make some good progress and some good gains and really improve your physical capacities and your performance so that when tryouts come, I believe that's late August or September. I'm not sure when that is, Kent, exactly. But when we get to that point, you want to be a better athlete than you are today, right? And 8 to 10 weeks is plenty of time, and we're going to help you get your thought process started on a few things that you can do on your own. So the three main big rocks that we're going to go over are physical development, professional habits, and then mindset performance. Those are the three main areas that I truly believe if you break those three things down and you have a plan for each one of those, you're going to be a very well-rounded athlete. And I've seen it time and time again. The athletes that don't make progress throughout the offseason or that have short careers in hockey, it's because they have major deficiencies in one of the three areas and they don't address them. And when they try to address them, it's unfortunately too late. So if you can have a plan of attack for each of these three things, I think you guys are going to be in a good spot. And at the end, like Ken said, if you have any questions, type them into the box and we'll have some time to answer a few. So the three big rocks of development, like I said, that's physical capacity, professional habits of an athlete, and your mindset performance skills. And I always explain this to guys in terms of a video game, right? So if you play a video game, there's always these little bars on the side, or similar to that picture that I have up there. The makeup of every athlete or every character that you choose in a video game is a little bit different, right? Some guys have a really high strength level. Some guys have better stamina. Some guys have better speed, but everyone's makeup is a little bit different. And the cool thing about that is that's what makes you unique as an individual and as an athlete. But it takes a little bit of reflection to kind of understand what your strengths and what your weaknesses are. So if you can kind of take some time to reflect on your own after this talk and think of what areas of these three big rocks you really need to work on, you can prioritize some of your time this offseason a little more to those areas so that you don't spend inefficient time working on things that you're already good at. Maybe you just try to bring those weaknesses up a little bit higher so that they're not as glaring, and you keep your strength strong. And the other thing is, like, these things aren't isolated, guys. Like the things that you do on the ice physically in the gym, they're not separate from the mindset things, the way you think of yourself, the way you think of your teammates, of your performance, how you deal with stress, and also the professional habits as an athlete. I always tell guys that your goals and your development doesn't end during the 1 hour at the gym or the 1 hour on the ice. This continues at home on your own. What are you doing for your food? How are you sleeping? How are you taking care of your body when you're on your own and the coaches aren't looking? So these three things always work together like a set of gears, and they interplay. But it does take some reflection to make sure that you guys know what your strengths and what your weaknesses are. So the first one we'll go over are the physical capacities and abilities, right? I have all these pictures up here, and these are all real pictures of athletes that we work with, and live pictures of them working out in the gym. But you can see by the pictures down low where the guys are on the ice, there's some funky positions that you guys have to get your body into while you're on the ice. And these things aren't very natural for the human body. Like we were meant to walk forward and backwards in a straight line and up and down. We weren't meant to skate side to side, right? So this is unfortunately just part of the game, but the best approach is to have a plan of attack for these demands of the game, and to make sure that you're prepared so that when you go out there on the ice, your body can handle these funny positions and big stresses and forces that go on through your hips, legs, shoulders. So how do we train? Quite simply, you got to focus on everything, right? You gotta do some speed work, you got to do some power work, strength, stability, mobility, and endurance. You can't be a guy that just goes into the gym and just crushes weights, but then come your hour and a half skate, you're tired 20 minutes in, right? So I think the best approach is a balanced approach. And when you guys go into the gym, you guys should look at your sheet, look at your workout, and be like, hey, am I doing a little bit of strength today? Am I doing a little bit of mobility? How's my stability and my cardio? Am I working on all of the areas of my game? Because ice hockey does require all of those. It's not like football, where if I'm a lineman, I probably just need a really, really high level of strength and just a real little bit of cardio, and I'll be fine. But as a hockey player, you need all of these things, and you need to develop them all at a high level so that you can be the best athlete possible. So a little bit of our training philosophy, right? We train hard, but we train smart. The expectations for the Chicago Jets and for a guy that I might be training in the NHL, they're exactly the same, right? We expect a really good effort from you guys every single session, and we really would like you guys to buy into the process. And the reason we do that is because there's actually a plan that goes behind how you guys train. So that player there on the right jumping on those funny little black boxes that are there on the ground, those are called force plates. And we have access to these. This is the same type of technology that the guys at the US development program are using, teams in the NHL. Very, very high level teams use these. And it's a really cool way to be able to tell how you guys are developing these qualities that we need you to be really good at on the ice, and what your deficiencies are. So every single player in the Chicago Jets organization runs through an assessment at the beginning of the season where we test your upper body strength, your speed, your power output. We also look at your body composition. So if you're someone that maybe needs to gain a little bit of weight or lose a little bit of weight, we help you do that. And we measure all that stuff with these different tools that we have. So at the end of that assessment, we really have a good picture on how you are as an athlete. And then on the back end, what we need to do to improve these different qualities. So quite simply, if we have you do a set of jumps on those force plates there, it's going to tell me how strong you are, what the asymmetry is between your right and left legs. So am I a little bit stronger on one leg versus the other? Because if you are, and that asymmetry is really big, then that's a huge risk for injury. And then also what your speed and your power are like. So if you're a guy that's not very high on the speed and power end, and we see that, then we really make a point to drive in maybe a little bit more strength work on your own, or have you do a little bit more, a few more sets during the training session. But the cool thing about these plates are that we test on them every single week. So every week we can have a snapshot at how you're developing, if you're getting better or you're a little worse. And if we have to change or modify the plan, then we will in season. And that's, I think, what really sets the Jets organization apart from everybody else, where you don't come in just for a workout. Like we really work with you together on a more individual level, because the same plan that might be really good for me might not be the same plan for Coach Kent or Coach Mike or Coach Kyle, right? We're all a little bit different, and we're unique in our own ways. Even though a lot of the same things are going to benefit us, there's different things that we all need to do to make sure that we're really improving as an athlete and driving our weaknesses up a little bit higher and keeping our strengths strong. So one thing that you guys will hear me yell in the gym, or if you ask other players, is the other 23 hours, right? I always ask guys, well, what are you doing the other 23 hours when you're not here or you're not on the ice? Are you still working on these different deficiencies that you need to work on? Are you taking care of your body? Are you eating right? Are you sleeping right? Are you working out on your own if your team didn't have any off-ice sessions that week? So we offer this mobility app to every single player on the Chicago Jets organization. It's a really cool way for you to be in contact with one of our coaches still, and do some mobility on your own. Sometimes if guys need extra workouts at home, we'll reply back on this app, and we'll put up training sessions that they could do on their own, whether it's at their school's gym, body weight stuff at home, mobility stuff at home, different recovery things. So these are things that professional organizations have, guys, and you guys have the same access to all those tools and resources is to be able to continue your development outside of practice and your off-ice sessions. So the next one I want to touch on is the professional habits, right? That's, to me, this is the biggest one. I think everybody probably does a pretty good job of showing up to practice. Everyone does skates on their own. That's covered for the most part. Workouts, I think, for the most part, everybody does a little bit of off ice in some form or another. But one of the biggest things that I always see guys lack is their professional habits. And by professional habits, I mean, how are you fueling your body? How are you recovering? And how are you hydrating? So we'll go over these three a little bit here. And if you guys have any questions at the end as far as what foods are acceptable or which ones aren't, just let me know and we can touch base on those. But quite simply put, this is actually something that Brian Gallivan, our owner, came up with. So eat clean, eat often, hydrate, greens, and more greens. There on the left, you'll see a list of different foods, and you want to eat more of these. Then you see the ones at the bottom, and I'm included in it myself. I probably indulge in them sometimes a little too much, but I'm not saying to avoid those foods, but you should probably eat a little less of those. So these are very simple things. I think we all know what we should and what we should not eat, but it's just more so of making it a habit and being consistent with those habits. So here's a little meal guide and supplement recommendation. We're not nutritionists, and we're not telling you to eat this way, but this is a guide that will work for a lot of people. And if you have specific allergies or deficiencies, we can talk about that after the call. But on a training day, you'll see there you wake up in the morning, you eat some breakfast right away. That's one of the biggest things when I train guys in the off season in the morning at 8, 9, 10 o'clock. I'll ask, hey, do you guys have any breakfast today? And sure enough, there's always 2 or 3 people that say, hey, I didn't have anything to eat today. Well, food is fuel to your body, right? So you need to have fuel in your body to be able to perform. It's no different than if I was trying to drive from my house to work, but there was no gas in my car. I wouldn't be able to get there. It's no different with your body, guys. Like if you're going to come into the gym and you're going to ask your body to do certain things, and you're going to ask it to move a certain way and do it for a certain length of time, your body needs fuel, no different than a car. So just at a little eyes view there, you could see on that training day, there's a lot more food that's kind of listed in that. And that's simply because there's probably a little bit more activity that's going on that day. So if a good rule of thumb is if you work out more and you skate more, you probably need to eat a little bit more because you need to replenish that fuel in your body. On non-training days, you'll see that there's a little bit less food there. And that's just because you're not working as much, so you just don't need to eat as much. And the reason we do this, guys, is because if you eat too much on the days that you're not training and you don't eat enough on the days that you're actually going to train, then your body's not going to feel great. You might either lose too much weight, lose too much muscle, or gain too much body fat. And if you're carrying around extra baggage on the ice, that's going to be detrimental and really inefficient to your performance on the ice. We really like BioSteel. We think they're a great company. They're very clean. These are just some sample products that you guys can test on your own. everyone I think here should have a post-workout routine where you're coming in to train, and after your training session, you have a shaker bottle with you, you have a whey protein or plant-based protein, and you have some sort of electrolyte or hydration mix to drink, whether it's on the bench, in the training session. These things obviously aren't cheap, guys, but the main message that I'm trying to get across is whether you're doing a post-workout shake or you have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and some trail mix, like you should be fueling your body before, after, and sometimes even during your workout. So it's really, really important, guys, and I can't stress this enough. Again, going back to not eating too much, or not eating enough or eating too much. The simplest way that I could break it down is if you look down at your plate every time you take a seat and you're going to eat some food. I think if you look down and you split your plate up into these different veggies, protein, fats, and starches, you'll have a pretty good plan here to be able to modify your food and keep a pretty balanced approach. If you guys look there on the left, there's an anytime meal, right? And an anytime meal just means what do I do when I don't work out? When it's Saturday, Sunday, and I'm just going out to dinner with my mom and dad, or having a meal with my buddies. Most of the food should probably be fruits and veggies with a moderate amount of protein and some fats. And if you guys see what's missing there's no starches like potatoes, pasta, rice, and bread. And again, that's simply because I didn't train as much that day, so I don't need as much of that carbohydrate. Whereas on a post-workout meal, it's almost the same breakdown as the previous one, but there on the right, you see that there's a lot more starches, pasta, rice, and a little bit more protein, because that's how we're going to help our body recover through those good protein sources and starches. If any of you guys are vegans or vegetarians, there's a plant-based option there as well too. But it's no different, right? There's always a good serving of fruits and veggies, a good healthy portion of protein, and some starches and fats there. So then game day, right? Going back to that example, if I'm let's say I'm a Ferrari, which I always tell the guys that we train, I'm like, you guys are Ferraris because you have some of the best trainers in the world working with you guys here. And this is what we're training you guys to be. You guys are all Ferraris and Maseratis and whatever crazy fast cars there is out there. But if I had a Ferrari, I probably wouldn't put bad fuel in my car, right? And I'd make sure that I'd have enough fuel so that wherever I was going to drive to, I could get there, and I could get there without my engine breaking down. So that comes down to having enough fuel and making sure the fuel that I'm putting in my car is of good quality. And it's no different with your body. If I'm going to have 2 or 3 games on a weekend, I need to make sure that I'm eating enough, but I also need to make sure that that food is healthy food, not junk food from a vending machine or McDonald's that's on every single corner. I need to make sure that I'm having good options, whether I'm bringing food to the rink, if I'm going out in different restaurants, making sure that I'm ordering healthy stuff. So game day guideline here, guys. Upon waking up, there's again a balanced approach where you're having a little bit of protein, carbs, fat in your diet. There's some meal tips here just for you guys to look over. I'll send this nutrition packet out to Ken, and if he wants to send it out to the families, he can as well too, or you guys can contact me directly. But post-game meal as well too. We always, even though we had some supplements up there, we'd like you guys to get most of your sources through whole foods. And 2 of the biggest mistakes an athlete makes is on game days or just in general is they stay up too late, scrolling through their phones, and they finish their workout or their training session and they're in the locker room, in the car, just scrolling endlessly through their phone, where you could be taking those 5 or 10 minutes that you're on your phone to make yourself a shake, make yourself a snack as soon as you get home so that you can kickstart that recovery process right away. So game day nutrition, guys, it's really important, and especially those weekends that you guys have huge tournaments. If you let one meal slip and you skip a meal or you have a crappy meal, it might make you feel not so good the next game. So It's really, really important and something that you guys need to take in your own hands and not let your parents do. Hydration. This is a huge one as well too. So up there, you can see that chart. It says the effect of water loss on performance. You can see if you're 2% dehydrated, there's already impaired performance on ice, meaning if you're 2% dehydrated, you're already a little bit slower. You get fatigued a little bit faster on the ice, and you're not the optimal version of yourself that we want you to be. So funny story, there's this NHL team that installed these sensors in the urinals when the guys were going to the bathroom, and if they would pee after practice or during a game, if they were dehydrated, the light would flash red, and if they were hydrated, it would be green, and if they were at moderate levels, the light was yellow, right? And I thought that's really funny because they spent like, I don't know, $100,000 on these sensors in the urinals that just told them if they were hydrated or dehydrated. But you guys don't need that. Like, simply put, you guys can go to the bathroom, look at the color of your pee. This pee chart there, that's the same $100,000 that the NHL team spent on these sensors in their urinals. If your pee, for the most part, is like that 1 to 2 there on the left, which is our target range, you can probably assume that you're pretty well hydrated. But if you're going into the middle towards the right there, where we see those bright yellow, gold, brown colors, like you're already pretty dehydrated. And if you see that in the urinal, what you have to do is you have to go right away, get some electrolytes in you, get some water in you, and kickstart that recovery process so that you're really well hydrated. And the next time you go to the bathroom, your pee's more like that 1 or 2. And this is, again, really important the weekends of tournaments and after practices, because if you, like you guys can see there, if you're 8 to 10% dehydrated, your vision goes, your cardiac system, so your cardio, your heart doesn't work the way it should be, and you're not going to have the energy that you need on the ice. And then the last thing I'm going to touch on here, guys, for our last big rock is mindset performance. I always ask guys, do you have a growth mindset or do you have a fixed mindset? And this isn't something that you guys have to maybe just think of now, but after we're done with this call, is go back and think of, like, when you get criticism from your coach on the ice or in the weight room, like, how do you take that criticism or that advice that they're giving you, or those tips that they're trying to help you with so that you can develop as a player and develop physically? Are you open to those tips that they give you, or do you just say, hey, I'm good enough, or I'm not going to work that hard? And really making sure that you have that growth mindset, guys. I think if you stay stuck in that fixed mindset, it's really going to limit your development and your potential. You guys can see that cue there. So your mindset can help you unlock your potential or hold you back and limit your development. So you can, I've seen it time and time again, guys, where guys are super physically gifted, but they're a mess when something doesn't go their way. And that's because they're in that fixed mindset where we're trying to help them, and they're being really stubborn. But because they're so stubborn, they're not able to develop and to get better as an athlete because they haven't moved on from that fixed mindset to the growth mindset. So simple things like just being really open, trying new things, taking some time to just practice these different tips and strategies that your coaches are giving can really make a huge difference in your development on and off the ice. So the next 8 to 10 weeks, this is very general, and if you guys have any questions about your specific setup, I'm happy to answer anything through text or email or at the end of this call. But I try to put this into 3 different phases for the next 8 to 10 weeks and give you a little plan that you guys can take with you for all 3 of those big rocks. So the physical, the professional habits, and the mindset. So in phase 1, for your physical, so you guys at this point are starting as soon as possible. You guys should already be working out off the ice for 3 to 4 training sessions. Again, some of you guys might have trainers or do things on your own, but you should be working on all those qualities, but with the focus on mobility, gaining a little bit of muscle, strength, and speed, because those 3 or 4 things are going to be the foundation of what's to come and what you need to develop going into the tryouts at the end of the summer here. For your habits. So I don't expect all of you guys to be like, oh man, I'm gonna get off this call and I'm gonna go make chicken and broccoli, and I have all the ingredients that I need in my fridge, and I have a shopping list for mom and dad. Like, no, those are things that are gonna maybe take a little bit of time to develop. So a good thing to start off with, guys, is just for 3 to 4 days is keep track of all the food that you consumed, all the water that you consumed as well too. And at the end of those 3 to 4 days, you guys could send it to me, email it to me, or just look it over yourself and really reflect on whether or not your choices that you made to fuel your body were good choices. And just that simple reflection, I think, will kickstart the process for you guys to start making some better choices, whether it's at school, when you're with your buddies, at home. And another thing that we can send out to you guys is just a nutrition guide. It's a big packet that we send to all of our families and all of our players, and it gives you some good guides as far as like different things that you should look for in the grocery store, what to stay away from, what to eat more from, and then there's a couple links in there to different recipes and tips that you guys can use to eat a little bit better at home. The other thing is you can start a sleep journal. So the way a sleep journal works is as soon as you wake up the next day in the morning, you write down what time you went to bed, what time you woke up, and how you feel. And again, do that for anywhere from 3 to 4 days. And if you find that for 3 or 4 days in a row, you didn't feel good any day, then maybe you need to change things. But if out of those 4 days, you found that 2 days you felt awesome and you had so much energy and you just wanted to attack the day, well, then you go back and you reflect and you say, hey, what did I do before I went to bed? What did I eat? Did I wind myself down so that I could set myself up for good sleep? And then you practice those habits in phase 2 and phase 3. And then just learn to cook during phase 1. Simple thing for breakfast. Do you know how to make an egg? Do you know how to cook ground beef, make a pot of rice, make a salad? Simple things like that. And start eating some greens. That's one of the biggest things. Is I know a lot of guys don't like vegetables, but try 1 or 2 these first couple weeks and pick a few vegetables that you like and eat those all the time. You don't have to eat every single vegetable, but maybe find a few that you really enjoy and make those part of your consistent diet all the time. And then for your mindset on phase 1, and this is consistent across phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. You want to keep a journal maybe at the end of the day and just ask yourself, what went well today? What challenges did I face? And how did I show up to those challenges today? Did I have an open mindset or a fixed mindset? So I'll touch on phase 2 and phase 3 here, you guys, really quickly. So for phase 2 in the physical, by this point, this is maybe 3 weeks away from now. You guys should all be taking part in 4 to 6 off-ice workouts. The main focus of those workouts should be strength and power, speed, conditioning, and on ice. Like, you guys should be skating a fair amount at this time, because that's what you need to prepare your body for. Like, yeah, you need to be really strong and really fit off the ice, but if you haven't skated quite a bit up to this point, then you're not going to be ready for those practices and the intense tryouts come at the end of the summer here. For your habits, by this point in 2 to 3 weeks here, you guys should already have some sort of meal prep routine where, if I wake up in the morning during the week, this is what I'm going to eat. This is what I'm going to have for lunch. If I need to work or work out, I'm going to take a meal with me so that I know I have something good that's of high quality and enough food so that I'm recovered for the next day of training. And you want to be really consistent with these practices, guys. This isn't something where I could do it 1 or 2 days and slack off for 4 or 5 days. Like, you need to be consistent with this 80, 90% of the time. You should have a post-workout routine by now. So are you eating real foods after your workout, after your skates, or have you found a protein that works for you? And that sleep practice that you reflected on in phase 1, whatever sleep routine made you feel really good, that should be part of your daily kind of wind down routine before you go to bed. And then greens again. At this point, you guys should have found some veggies that work for you. The last one here, phase 3. You see there that there's 3 to 4 off ice workouts, right? This is assuming we're maybe 2 weeks away from the tryouts. The focus here isn't off ice development anymore. You guys should still be taking part in it at least 3 times a week, in my opinion. But you guys should really be focusing on your on ice fitness, because that's what you're really going to need to prepare for. You're not going to make a certain team that you want to make by having a 500-pound deadlift but not being able to skate really hard for an hour and a half. Like you want the opposite of that. You want to maybe have a little bit lesser of a deadlift, but be really, really fit, really, really well conditioned, and have your skill set be really, really high on the ice, the best it can be for you specifically. So that's why there's just a little bit of a kind of a shift in focus from the on ice to the off ice right before tryouts. And the reason why you do need to maintain your off ice workouts, guys, it's just for injury prevention, and you want to make sure that you don't lose a step, right? A lot of these qualities like strength, speed, and power, you do need to work on them every single week. If not, they do fall off, and they fall off at a pretty fast rate if you don't keep them up. But specifically in the gym, your load should be a little bit lighter. So your focus should be on speed, power, strength, explosiveness. At this point, you're already really strong. You've put a little bit of muscle on, so we don't need to waste and put so much time into that. It should all be speed, power, and explosiveness based. And then for your habits, at this point already, you should know what works for you. So you just have to stay the course, eat more if needed, just because of the intensity of the skates or how much activity you guys are doing. You might need to fuel your body a little bit more, so just be aware of that. And then again, greens, that's consistent. You never stop eating those fruits and veggies, guys. That's how you're going to recover and keep your nutrient levels really, really high. And that's it, guys. I know I toss a lot at you. Sometimes I talk a little fast, so if you need me to kind of go back and explain something, just let me know. But I just want to thank you guys for staying on this call. And there's my email. It's just Juan at GVNperformance.com if you guys have any questions, and feel free to hop on our website, check out GVNperformance.com and look at all of our locations. But yeah, I would say if I could sum things up, guys, the off ice portion with the Jets, and I'm not biased just because I work there, but the same quality of care that I give, for example, there's Jake McCabe that played on the Hawks and on Toronto the last couple seasons, or the other guy there in the corner that just finished winning a Calder Cup in the American Hockey League. The treatment that they get, it's no different than the treatment that we're going to give you guys. Just because they're at the NHL level and you guys are hoping to make the AA or AAA level one day, we treat all you guys the same, and we really take pride in how we help you guys out, and we set high expectations for all of you. So I think that's a wrap there, Ken. If anyone has questions, I'm happy to answer.
Thanks, Juan.
So we'll go ahead and open it up to any questions. If you want to type them in, go ahead. But Juan, that was excellent. That Mike and I always have exit meetings at the end of the season for our teams, and we always talk about the off season. What are you going to do in the off season? What do and players always talk about all the work that they're going to put in. And let's face it, everybody's got a lot going on. They get overscheduled, and it's tough to make time for some of this stuff. But how you perform and what you do next fall, what you do over the next 8 to 10 weeks is critical to that success. It's very difficult to gain strength, speed, agility during the course of the season, because you're getting worn down. You're getting, there's injuries occur, or bumps, bruises, things like that. So this is the time where you can really put in the work and get the most out of it for the upcoming season, because it's such a long season. It's very important to do that. And when you showed some of the pictures of some of the guys that went through our program or are still going through our program, I always think of some of the guys that were these little guys who came to us as the U15s, Alex, Jack, Colin, Hank, some of these guys who, some of these guys struggled to even make a Central States team, and some of them didn't even make a Central States team until they were U15. And they ended up being some of the most successful players in our program, number one. Number two, I mean, they were just so physically strong. They had their agility. They bought into your program, the GVN program, and it was like night and day difference in their whole body, their makeup, their confidence, the way they handle themselves on the ice. Off ice can help you so much as a player, and it's very important that that's why we are so happy that we're partnered up with somebody like GVN, because they do such a phenomenal job. And I mean, some of the things that Juan touched on that probably just didn't really have a chance to set in maybe yet is the app, the agility app, the mobility app that you have access to as being a part of the Jets. That there's not another club out there that does anything like that. So these are the best trainers that are available to any midget age player, and you have this opportunity to train with these guys. And Juan is offering his services here to, if you have questions or anything and not just right now, but over the course of the next week or so, if you're starting to get into things and you have questions, he's making himself available. So it's we have the resources here to make you a better player, but it's up to you. I mean, you actually have to put your phone down. You have to put your game controller down. You have to actually be willing to do the work and put the time in. And if you do, the gains are going to be, I mean, I look at Colin Cash. I always tell the story where struggling to make a Central States team, and Juan was talking about how important it is and the training that they do. His test scores were off the chart in all the training, and in the overtime, which was the fourth period of that championship game, where he just blew by everybody and came in and scored that game-winning goal. That's all about how he trained, and it's how you prepare is directly correlated to the results you get on the ice. So I can't stress enough how important off ice training is. And, it's something that you really have to start doing, because when August 15th comes around and you're trying out for one of our teams, there's always players, unfortunately, who don't make the team that they want to make. And you're going to have to be able to look yourself in the mirror and say, what did you do to help this situation or put yourself in the best position to succeed? Bloomy, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many points that I'd like to add, but the first thing I'll say is, for a long period of time, when you guys are getting older, if you're going from 7 years old to 8 years old, or 8 to 9, you're naturally going to get a little bit bigger and a little bit stronger just because you've gotten older. Then once puberty hits, when you get to around 15, 16, sometimes 14, once that hits, the way you get bigger and stronger is what you do off the ice, and getting into the gym and getting into that training routine and putting the right things into your body to help it not only get stronger, but to perform better. So, that's something that you guys got to think about, that you're just not going to get bigger and stronger anymore just because you get older. You got to transition your body into the right way. And the best thing that GVN offers is that it's all hockey specific. So the things that they're constantly working on off the ice translate to making you a better player, stronger, faster, more agile on the ice. Because everybody can go to the gym and lift weights and get stronger, but is that really going to be what helps you on the ice? And in many cases, it's not. So it's really important to understand what you're doing when you're doing off-ice training as well. And we're lucky to have, Juan and his team working with us. And, some of the other things that I'll touch on too, for those that don't know, I work for a team in the North American League. And a lot of the years in the summer, they do their pre-draft camps here at Johnny's or in the Chicagoland area. And every year they are so jealous of what our Chicago Jets players get as far as the off ice and things like that, because, you know, they play at a tier 2 North American League level. They do not get this type of off ice. A lot of the D1 colleges don't get this type of off ice. These guys are truly world renowned when it comes to the training that they do. And it's crazy that for a AA program, you know, we get that. So it's really important that you guys understand what you're getting. But the most important part is take advantage of it, because it's truly going to help you get to that next level if you really take it serious.
Great. Can't take and see if any questions are coming in, or are there any questions or?
No questions in the chat so far. If anybody wants to
Okay.
type anything in or follow up, you can email Kyle questions. We can get them to Juan and get them answered for you. You know, if anybody has any questions for the chat, the time is now. If not, everybody can go enjoy the rest of their Sunday. Thanks a lot, Juan, for everything.
Nice
no-
job,
Thank you.
Juan.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you guys.
All right. Take care, everybody. Next skate is Wednesday.
Bye. Thank you.